So you've gotten your SPM results. Congratulations, it's time to go for university. But wait, according to our Education Minister Fadilah Siddiq, 48% of the SPM leavers in the batch of 2021 chose not to continue their study. That's 180,000 of them. That's a staggering number, don't you think so? Now, the Malay Daily also reported a similar trend, and they said that there are three main factors behind why those who are 17 to 18 years old chose not to continue their studies. Number one, the availability of job opportunity in the gig economy. Number two, the perception of believing that furthering their studies will not give them better job opportunity. Number three, most of them are more interested in becoming influencers on social media. Well, I guess I'm part of the problem. So in this video, I want to explore this topic in these three areas. Number one, how does it affect you as an individual? Should you go for a university study? Number two, why is this happening and who's to blame? Number three, how is this gonna affect the Malaysian economy as a whole? Firstly, when it comes to availability of job opportunity in the gig economy, and they're right, these days we have so much of opportunities in the gig economy. You can choose not to further your study and just be a freelance Grab driver or Food Panda rider or even other forms of gig economy worker. And that seems like a much better choice than going to university, right? Because you're gonna spend money when you go to university. But if you're gonna take up a job immediately, well, you start earning money immediately, and your friends who chose to go to study in the university are not earning money. So you're much better off. Is that true? Well, you're wrong.
Oh hi, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Although choosing work in the gig economy immediately does generate you income much faster than your friends who are going to university, but over a long run, you are on the losing game. Because if you were to look carefully, most of these jobs in existence for the gig economy are actually low-skilled jobs, such as drivers, riders, and so on. Anyone who has a license who can drive and is willing to work hard will be able to become a Grab driver or a food delivery rider. These kind of low-skilled jobs are actually easily replaceable. So what are you gonna do when one day we can deliver food using drone or we have driverless vehicle? It's already happening in America. Okay, but to be fair, there are certain university subjects that you study, and when you come out and get a job, you may end up in a low-skilled job and you could be easily replaced when AI becomes a common thing. Nonetheless, according to another study in 2018 by OECD, it shows that workers with a tertiary education generally earn 60% more than those who are only with a high school diploma. Although right now you may be earning more than your friends who go to university, over a long run of 10 years, 20 years, you will be earning significantly lesser. That's what we mean by you start well, but you don't end well. Although I have to say there are some exceptions to this, maybe because of social media. These days we hear a lot of people who are high school dropouts but end up building a successful business and become multi-millionaires by the time they are much older, or those who actually quit university and join some sort of a startup and do very, very well and became multi-millionaire even without going to university. But do remember, that is just a small percentage of people. What are you seeing are just the successful cases. What about the millions of them who actually did not make it and end up working till the end of the day is like a cow? Number two, the perception of believing that furthering their studies will not guarantee them to having a better job. That, I have to say, it depends on what you do during your university years. Are you going to be really learning and improving yourself with different skill set, learning leadership skills, soft skills, how to work with people, convince people, work in projects, and so on and so forth? But instead, just going through your studies, living in your comfort zone, and graduating with something, it has nothing to do with furthering your study or not in university. It is your attitude problem. Then that's the reason why you're gonna work like a cow. The third one, you have more interest on becoming an influencer on social media. Well, I hope I didn't contribute to that problem. Let's be honest, I built my business in social media, and I have to say this one thing, it is not easy. Most of the influencers fail, and some of them, even when they are famous, they can't make enough money. It is not as easy as it seems. To make this into a sustainable business, you need a bunch of knowledge, Adam Smith theory, that people have a contradictory approach to words, who are scholar, academic, professor, who are fighting against it as well. You need some skill sets, you need to have good business acumen, and all this comes with educating yourself. Not every xiao mei mei on TikTok is actually making money, okay? But with many SPM leavers having such perception, it is not entirely their fault. It is part of a systematic failure of our education system failing to educate the younger generation. And if you're thinking about blaming the current government for this, no, it's not the current government thing. It's been a problem that's going on for years. Hey guys, do you know we just launched our newsletter? If you would like to have some exclusive weekly financial tips, some of our thoughts behind the scene, and
my thoughts about the market,
you can go to www.mrmoneystv.com to sign up for the newsletter. When you subscribe for the newsletter, you will get an ebook and also a retirement calculator. So what you waiting for? Sign up now! So here are some of the reasons that I believe are contributing to this problem. First, an outdated curriculum. Truth is, much of the curriculum that we see today are actually outdated. They are not kept up with industry standard. Let me give you an example. I was just talking to a few youngsters who are studying mass comm, and when they told me about the syllabus that they are studying and the content of it, I was shocked. They're still learning how to design a newspaper advertisement. I mean, come on, who reads newspaper these days? It's a dying industry. People are reading digital newspaper. If you want to create an ad, you should be learning how to create a digital ad, not a printed newspaper ad, right? But that's exactly what they are paying to learn in university today. That's ridiculous. I personally had great fun experimenting and failing back in university, learning how to manage people, communicate, lead projects, and all this experience built me up to be a better person. And when I came out to work, I was much more valuable than someone who did not go through all this. Secondly, although these days you can actually learn a lot of things online and you can actually self-study, being in a university has one benefit that all these online studies don't provide. It's the gathering of intellectual minds in one place where you get to discourse with one another different ideas between you and your lecturer, between you and your friends, debating and brainstorming and challenging different ideas. This helps us to develop sharper critical thinking skills. In fact, that's the reason why you find that there are many of these tech startups in the US actually met their co-founders in university because they were given time to debate and to discuss ideas and take on projects together, which sometimes lead to great opportunities. And thirdly, by statistics, those who have gone through a tertiary education are much likely to be more innovative in their career because they are more likely to have skill sets and knowledge to come up with new ideas and solutions. In fact, according to a study in 2017, a 1-year increase in the average educational attainment of a country's workforce can lead to a 0.1% increase in the rate of innovation. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't go to tertiary education, you won't be innovative. And I'm saying statistically, because this is true. Think about certain professions like doctor. If you don't go through university, how do you expect someone to come up with a new kind of medicine or new kind of surgery method? Are you going to trust your friend who never go to university to operate on you? Will you trust this cow to operate on you? I mean, it's not just in the medical field, but engineering, computer science, legal, accounting, all these are very important industries that do require you to go through a tertiary education. Now, the point I want to make is this. Yes, there are certain industries today that doesn't require you to go through university to do well in that career, such as programming, copywriting, or even being an influencer on social media. But there are also certain industries that will require you to go through tertiary education in order to get a job in that particular industry. Now, at the end of the day, I believe there are many employers these days who doesn't really care whether you go through tertiary education or not. But what they do care is what you do during those years and how you emerge as a more valuable person. So if you are going to university, more important than what kind of programs are you going to take is what are you going to do in those university years to educate yourself and to develop yourself as a human being. But for those of you who choose not to go through tertiary education for whatever reason, I have to say the road is going to be tougher ahead for you. You will need to be very conscious that during this period, aside from earning money, you will need to educate yourself and increase your value as a person so that you can be much more innovative and you don't stay in a job that is easily replaceable. But that's gonna take much more effort on you than going into university, because remember, your employer don't pay you to experiment and fail. They pay you to perform and give results. So chances are you need to do double the work while you perform. You need to keep learning at the same time. You are not given much chance to fail. Your failure comes with much more consequences than those who are studying in university. Before I go, I thought it would be helpful that I share my story. I actually did not want to go to university after I finished my SPM. I thought I always wanted to work in an NGO and just help people, so why bother going into university? Just join those organizations and start working there in social services, right? But my mom forced me to go to university, and I made a promise. I struck a deal with her that I'll go to university, and after that, I'm gonna do whatever I like. But during my university days, it changed my mind. I learned so much about different subjects. It challenged my thoughts, and it got me wondering what I truly want. And the rest is history. Today, I'm not working for an NGO, but instead, I started my own startup where we believe we can use financial literacy through media to change the lives of people. And I'm happy at where I am today. For that, I have to thank my mom for forcing me to go into university. So if you're thinking about furthering your studies and you're wondering what kind of study should you pick, what kind of degree is more relevant in today's world and which can help you to make the most money, check out this video.